Hello, and if this is the first time you've joined us, welcome to the Canting Club. This week we have an Italian red from Puglia, the region occupying Italy's heel. This one is from North Puglia, from vineyards that lie just inland from the spur on the back of Italy's boot. It's made from the Nero di Troia, which is the trademark red grape of the region. It's a medium ruby colour. It has a lovely, quite intense nose that combines rich, ripe fruit with sharp green herbs. It smells of dried black cherries, very much a characteristic of this grape, combined with sage and tea leaves. There's also a whiff of pungent spice, licorice. Now the nose promised a big rich wine, but this isn't. This is medium bodied, dry and really elegant, with clean, definitely unoaked flavours of blackberries and licorice. It's got crisp acidity and noticeable but silky tannins, giving it good food-friendly structure. That ripeness promised by the nose comes through again on the finish, where there are flavours of sweet black currants. Very Moorish. That ripe but sharp nose is really Italian and reminds me of a good Chianti. But the Nero di Troia has its own distinctive sense of and flavours, which I think give this wine a real sense of place. And that place is definitely northern Puglia. The historic town of Troia, which gave its name to this grape, lies only 25 kilometres to the west of the vineyards where this was grown. Those vineyards are some of the hottest in Italy. The summers it regularly exceeds 40 degrees. But this is a grape that loves heat, and it needs heat. It's so late ripening that even here they pick it in the second half of October, way after all the other grape varieties. Other Puglian reds made from Negro Amaro and Primitivo can suffer from overripeness, leading to excessive alcohol levels. But this wine is 13%, and that's pretty typical of this grape. Another advantage of not getting overripe is that the acidity is retained. So if this grape is so perfectly in tune with this region, why haven't you heard of it? The answer to that is much the same as the one for the Carignan we had a few weeks ago, another widely planted grape that isn't seen on labels. This is a ferociously tannic variety, and if you grow it with a view to maximising the yields, as the peasant farmers in this traditionally very poor part of Italy had to do, then it struggles to ripen even in this climate, and it ripens unevenly. So when you pick it all at once and throw the bunches into the vat, the underripe grapes contribute excessive acidity and mouth-puckeringly hard green tannins to the resulting wine. As a consequence, the Nero di Troia was always blended with softer, fruitier varieties like Montepulciano. 20 years ago, there were only half a dozen wines made purely from this grape, and none of them were exported. But winemakers have since found that if you restrict the yields, and if you pick these grapes as they become ripe rather than all at once, then you can tame the tannins and allow this variety to really shine. And today, there are almost 100 wines which state proudly Nero di Troia on their label, which is kind of ironic because that's not actually the grape's real name. The textbooks call it Uva di Troia, grape of Troy. Nero di Troia, which means black of Troy, is a recent rebranding, probably to benefit from the success of Nero d'Avola, Sicily's indigenous red grape. Anyway, it shows brilliantly, I think, how the best value wines are to be found in lesser known regions, made by small producers who are championing their local grape varieties. This is cheap enough to drink as your everyday house red, but complex and satisfying enough to keep your interest as you do so. Cheers.